guys, I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And today we are finally gonna actually talk about Spider-Man No Way Home.
I know, another late review from the goods.
That's right, because we got... A lot of things have happened, obviously, with the holidays and all that. But you know what? The impact that this movie has made has been, just phenomenal.
Yeah, it made $1.5
billion so
worth
far.
of impact.
And we wanted to show our our appreciation and our goods and our bads when it comes to the movies. Obviously, some fun facts will be there, similar to our You Don't Hate without as much detail.
There you go.
Terrence,
less graphic work.
Terrence, why don't you tell me the goods for you? The goods of Spider-Man No Way Home.
All right, so the goods of Spider-Man Home was one. We got to see more of Tom Holland really kind of being.
Independent?
Yeah, that too, but kind of like set free. I felt like he was restricted in Homecoming. He was restricted in Far From Home. Like this one, he was like, heck yeah, I'm Spider-Man. I know the whole thing with like the world knowing, but at least around he really kind of got to be like, I'm Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I like that aspect of it. Also, what I also liked about it was the simple fact that the back and forth between him and Doctor Strange when they actually got into their fight scene. I feel like that fight scene was Inception-esque or Doctor Strange 1-esque, but it was a really cool fight scene, and we understood that the only thing that can beat magic is math.
Very true.
I also love the fact that the villains were brought in, though that's also a bad. I love the fact that the villains were brought in, and when they actually got to be like total villains again, that was kind of some of the cooler aspects of the film. As well, I also like the fact that we got to see all of our previous Spider-Man. So every era seems to now have their own Spider-Man. So everybody went to see this film, and it was like, I'm a Toby person. Toby, he's back. I'm an Andrew Garfield person. Andrew, like my son's a big Andrew. Like he recognizes Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but for him, Andrew Garfield is still his Spider-Man. For me, Tobey Maguire was still my Spider-Man.
Christopher Reeve's our Superman.
And Christopher Reeve's our Superman. And Michael Keaton's my Batman.
And Michael Keaton's our Batman.
So, and it was one of this, like, it was that they were able to connect all of these generations together with this one movie by bringing those particular people back. It's also some bads with them. We'll get in those later.
Okay.
I liked all of the action scenes that took place in this movie. I kind of like. I liked the nostalgia element of it, where all the callbacks from all the previous films. Obviously with the Green Goblin saying, I'm kind of a scientist myself. I like Alfred Molina.
Power of the sun in my palm of my hand.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I loved all of those callbacks in it. So it merely made you feel like, hey, I earned this. Gambit keeps falling down. Damn you, Channing Tatum. See, I earned this. It's like, because I spent all my money and watched all these movies. Now it's paying for me so that I know what's going on in this film. Okay. But they said them in a way that it wasn't like people in the audience were sitting up there being confused. Like, why do you say that? It's just kind of like, if you knew, you knew, right? So I liked the fact that, like I said, the action scenes were really, really great. I liked where they took place. I am gonna say, I liked that Aunt May died. I mean, that's a sad moment, but I felt like he needed that Uncle Ben moment. And we never, so obviously what we're saying now is Uncle Ben must have died before he became Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And so he never got that, with power comes, well,
he got it. He just didn't get it around early.
So he didn't get that before he became Spider-Man. So now with him being Spider-Man, understanding what he needs to do, he finally got that speech that kind of motivated him to understand how to be a real superhero. I felt like Marissa Tomei's point to the franchise was already surpassed anyway, so giving her a good death scene as her send-off to the film, making it a point, I thought that was a great thing for them to do.
This was her Stark moment.
This was her Stark moment. I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. Yeah. I don't feel so good, Mr. Parker.
Does this mean Tom Holland is the variant?
As far as...
Technically, I mean, Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man, so... Tom Holland is the variant. So they made a whole trilogy with the variant.
I guess. I guess.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. I'm just
I
kidding.
guess is he universe Tom Holland's universe? I mean, Tobey Maguire's universe 1 and
Exactly. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes, I mean those were all the great things that I liked about it. I mean I have some bads that I kind of wish that they hadn't done, but
I'm curious. I don't have that many, but
let's go ahead and get your goods.
All right, so my
like
goods were the bringing back the original characters. Obviously, that was one. The fact that this was a live-action Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, it was a live-action Spider-Verse slash Sinister Six.
I love the fact that they every time that they've done a Spider-Verse, they've done it differently. In the comics, it was a mutual villain that was kind of attacking them all in their own universes.
I like that. I like that. That'd be a good movie.
That's why the comic was a great thing, which is why they kept trying to adapt it for everything. And then obviously Miles Morales was a different thing with the Kingpin causing everything, and then this one where obviously Spider-Man causes it and they're brought to his universe. So I love the fact that everybody did it differently, and every time that they do it differently, I love their interpretations of the Spider-Verse.
Okay. The Doctor Strange Spider-Man fight was great. It was visually beautiful.
I love that scene.
So it was great.
Yeah, and I love how like the trailer only gave us a glimpse of it and not the whole fight.
Yeah. The knocking his soul out and him still moving was kind of cool.
That was like the only person that figured that out.
Yeah, that was kind of cool for him to do that. All right, obviously
that is such a badass move though, and I was like, I think I would just be done. I guess like everybody except for Spider-Man's the only one person that didn't say like, nah, I'm not done yet. But it's like the minute it's like you hit me so hard, my soul leaves my body, man. I ain't messing with you at all. Whatever you want, Doctor Strange, you can have.
The nostalgia aspect of it, like I like that. The original Spider-Man coming back. The dynamic between Tobey and Garfield was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was great the way they interacted. I thought it was gold. Obviously the great special effects. Mm-hmm. Great special effects on that. Better character designs for Electro, and I liked his character design better in this one than as opposed to the blue one. Now, granted, he actually started out as the blue one. If you really pay attention to the beginning when he's first introduced, he's still that guy, but then he transforms into this version of the
you lose the blue and they cut your hair or they grow your hair back. You fix your teeth.
Yeah.
And they fixed his teeth when he became Electro.
But that's what even Lizard said that. Connor even said that. So
I mean, they had to point it out. It was like, why are we making this Electro better than what he was in the original?
And he's butt naked. That's another one. But the better character designs, villain performances, I thought were fantastic in this movie, especially Willem Dafoe. Like, God dang, he was so freaking good in this movie.
He was a star. He kind of outshined everybody else as far as the villains went. He was basically everything kind of flowed off him, but his acting, it was like he became front and center to what was everything that was going on.
What I loved about it reminded me, and I wrote this down, but it reminded me, there was a scene where they're fighting in Happy's hotel or whatever, in his apartment complex, and he's punching the shit out of him, and Spider-Man is punching and punching and punching, and he's laughing at him. It's like it took me back to Nightmare on Elm Street 4 when Alice is punching Freddy and he's just laughing at her. I mean, I just thought it was fantastic. His facial expressions during the punch, he no-sold it. He sold nothing. It was freaking awesome.
I almost felt like they were trying to make him the MCU Joker.
I can see that, actually. Yeah. I can see that. Okay, the third act was sensational.
I mean, great, though. We'll talk about what I think about it in the bad, but it was a great scene.
This is probably Tom Holland's best performance as Spider-Man.
Yeah, like I said, they literally, I felt like he got to do more in this film. Like I said, in Homecoming, it was so much kind of high school teen drama and stuff like that, with kind of like I'm Spider-Man on the side. And then back to high school teen drama, like people kind of understanding, like my friends are understanding that I'm Spider-Man, but it was heavily based on like Nick Fury and Mysterio, and they were really trying to like do something with furthering the story and branching out than it really being more about Spider-Man itself. I guess you kind of say in that one, he got the arc of it was like, hey, I can kind of be a hero without Tony Stark, I guess, in a sense. But this one is just kind of like he's in his old, like, I'm Spider-Man.
He grew up, basically.
I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah. J.K. Simmons coming back was great. I loved it.
I really wish he got to interact with Spider-Man. That's the only thing I was missing from it.
Well, he did, but not to where we wanted it
Yeah,
to. But he did.
I really wanted him to be like, "Get me, Spider-Man." I
just wanted some interactions with his wife from the phone.
Oh,
that's what was missing there. I just needed some. All right. Let's go with the bads. Let's start with the bads. I'm curious. I don't have many, but go ahead.
I would say the early. I think early on when they were locked in their little cages, their little
their prisons,
their little prisons and stuff like that, I felt like there wasn't much going on with the villains. And I know they weren't supposed to be doing much, but a lot of like the back and forth dialogue, it kind of felt like also too, Lizard, I mean, was only there in character. I mean, as a character that we were I almost feel like they shouldn't even have pulled Lizard into it. It's like, because he was a forgettable character even when he got out. I mean, he did a little, but like not enough to where
I don't
felt
think
like
that there
really
was enough
needed it.
intro for him.
Yeah.
There was no intro for him. I would have liked some kind of like, not necessarily a subplot, but just something where he appears on his own.
And then it kind of played Alpha Molina for jokes at the very beginning. It's like, what's your real name? And
yeah, I didn't.
It was like, I couldn't even start for a while. I couldn't take him serious anymore. Other things that I didn't like. So. You like a lot. No, I mean, I got more.
No, but it was almost mocking. It was almost like they were mocking our old.
Yeah, that's basically. It's like, this is stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
You liked a lot of the banter between I could tell that they let him do a lot of ad-libbing with it.
Yes.
And I felt like
Garfield admitted to that.
Stuck on the damn organic web. Way too much.
That was funny.
But I was like, it's way too much. All I needed was like, and wait, you don't have a web shooter? And he was like, no, it's just like, and it comes out of you? Ew. That's what I needed. I needed an ew, and I needed to move on. But they kind of kept playing with that back and forth, and I was like, I just felt like, I should have scripted some stuff in there because I felt like it was too much ad-libbing with the banter back and forth between the two. And I felt like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was just kind of like, tell me what to do so I could do it. Tell me, it's like he had no leadership in him. It was just kind of like, hey, I'm just happy to be on the team.
I felt that too. I felt
like Toby did something, Tom Holland did something. I think Andrew Garfield, outside of saving MJ, he was like, I'm just on the team. Just tell me what to do.
Not necessarily that, but the whole emo thing where in the negative, how negative he is about himself. The funny thing about it was when the funny thing about it was that when he was talking about Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man or Peter 2, like technically, yeah, you're Peter 2. you technically he even looks like, oh shit, I am Peter 2. Like he has that kind of look, right? But when Toby's calling him amazing, like he keeps calling him amazing. Well, yeah, he's amazing Spider-Man. So, yeah,
I like those, and it was like that was really cool.
No, but you're right though. You're right. Garfield he stole it in a lot of ways.
There was a lot. That's why people were talking about that. Like, or that's why the talks are is that he might come back as Spider-Man
3, Amazing Spider-Man 3. And because of his performance in it, I thought he was the right amount of levity. I thought that he gave a lot of emotional, redemption. He got a lot of emotional redemption from what he did for MJ. So there was a better. It was almost like I thought it was the other way around. I thought Toby was the one that was more glad to be there because there was he's the one that really didn't. There was no arc for him. There was no arc for Toby at all.
Because he was like, my life was good.
Yeah, the arc for Garfield was redemption. There was nothing for Toby. Toby was
his arc was the dealing. Well, no, because he defeated.
He defeated all of them.
Yeah, so it was nothing for him. It was like, hey, he should have took command. He was like, nah, I'm Peter 1. And it's like, I beat these guys before. What do you need to know? This is how we take down Goblin. He was like, when a glider comes at you, look, Aunt May. When a glider comes at you, you jump. You jump. He'll be right behind you. He'll get stabbed by a glider. Don't worry about it. The Sandman. let's go ahead and knock that out. That's why I said one. I felt like Lizard shouldn't even been there. I was like, Sandman was cool. They had to bring it. Well, they brought in Electro. So
I thought bringing back Lizard was fine. I just didn't agree with how they brought him back.
They didn't do much about it. And then obviously there's this big hole that like Electro didn't really know his secret identity.
Okay. Now was that your bad?
I'm sure there's other things I'm gonna think of, but go ahead.
Okay, my bads were. It starts off with one plot from Far From Home.
Right.
And then it goes into completely something else.
You know what? They got past it. Like, they set us up.
It was too fast.
Yeah, they set us up. It was like, hey, everybody knows the secret identity. It was like, let's do this. This was the FUJJ moment where, like, when Ryan Johnson said, nah, I know where he was going, but no, we're not doing that. We're going to do this. So, and I felt like whoever directed this film, it's like, I know you ended with that, but that's not what I want to do.
And they did good, but that's one thing. I think that there would have been if there was a little bit more where maybe it's a bookend thing, where it's like it starts off being about this, and then at the end, there's a reason why it's still important that this happened, or whatever. Nothing. It just completely stops. Hell, even then after Happy stops. Like, it's not even like, it doesn't continue at all.
I really feel like they were really going to lean in. This movie was going to be about people knowing who he was. And then somebody said, that Into Spider-Verse movie did really, really well. Yeah, I know. A great thing that we're doing a sequel. Let's
How about live action?
Yeah, let's do it live action too. Yeah. It's like, but we wrote this script about people understanding that. Yeah. So let's put all of the Spider-Man in this movie.
and then there's that.
Yeah.
So his Tom Holland's motivation is basically for vengeance for May, right? But if there was a point where the Spider guy, where both Spider-Men could help him, not just with the May part, but in the part of everybody knowing who he is, And granted, at the end, when he makes a sacrifice, I get it, but there was just something that was missing there, and I think if they would have gone the same exact route, but maybe not have this really big freaking this big climactic scene with all three of them, which was fantastic. But I still think that instead of being in the cages, they should have been out looking for them, like different things, like where they're catching them themselves.
Yeah, they use all three Spider-Man to take down this one villain or something like that. It's like it'd have been easier because, like, in each time, it took me a whole movie to take down this villain. It was like, now it's three of us, it won't take as long. And it's like, then we take them and then we'll send them home at the end, as opposed to catching them, just making them sit there and do nothing.
Okay, when they're in there and they're talking about going after them one at a time. That's exactly what they should have done in the first place, but making that the premise of the movie, where they're actually going after them one by one, and if anything happens where all of them culminate at the end, okay, fine.
So more along the lines, like, I guess they had introduced the Spider-Man early in the film,
right?
And then they were like, hey, we're here, yada yada thing. If we're here, probably our villains are here, or we were in the moment of fighting these villains, and boom, now we're here. So we obviously, the guys we were fighting are probably here too. So we need to go and take them down.
Why wasn't Toby at the highway, the bridge?
Oh, at where Molina went?
Yeah, as soon as he saw, because he was there too at the same time.
But he was past that because we went to Sandman.
What? No. I'm talking about when both Doc Ock appear and Goblin appear. Toby should have been there already. He should have been swinging on his way to help.
Well, no, he can't. Because that's what I'm saying. It's like they brought the villain to, like, okay, Goblin.
They were brought at the same time?
Yeah.
At different times, right?
Yeah, Goblin was one. It's like, so I don't know. This Toby was a Toby who already beat these guys, so he didn't leave that exact moment. They left when they died.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so they came in.
You're right. Okay, so that takes me to the plot holes and a lot of questions as far as and some of these videos out there, and if you haven't seen, go check them out. There's some guys out there that are putting out some pretty good stuff on that. But one in particular, I can't remember your name, sorry, but he was talking about how the everything that's physical is still legit with Peter Parker, but it's the mental part that people just forget.
Yeah, I mean, there's records of him though.
Yeah, but
it's like there's school records, and it was like, so. I mean, I'm sure the Avengers wrote some stuff down.
That little shrine, exactly. But the shrine that they built in the high school, that just disappears.
No, it's like Flash Thompson wrote a book. So did they change all the words in the book?
Tony has everything in computer on who he is.
No, I'm just like, the people who bought his book. Are they sitting there and he was like, I'm best friends with
Spider-Man, not Peter Parker though.
But he writes that it was like me and Peter went to school together and stuff like that. It was like, how is he? It was like me and Spider-Man went to school together, and it was like, It just changed all the words from Peter to Spider-Man.
And another thing was,
and Spider-Man, I already knew that Spider-Man was Spider-Man. And then
what I liked was this one meme that says, "Hey, can you just wipe out everybody's mind on what Mysterio said? Can you erase what Mysterio said? Okay."
Yeah.
And then credits, and then the credits go up. It's over. That's all they had to do. Wipe out what Mysterio said. It's over.
Very true. Just wipe out what Mysterio said, and we'd be good.
And it's over. Yeah, that's it. It's done. All right. Another bad for me was that there was no Daredevil, no Venom.
Well,
at the end.
Oh, at the end.
At the end.
I kind of feel like the Charlie Cox thing, as much as we wanted it, was just really kind of forced in there. I would have been better if he had met him at the police station and then give him an extra scene and like, okay, here, I'm your defendant, or I'm your lawyer, and then boom, boom, we kind of got it worked out. Or there was a minor, like him catching a brick was just kind of like, but what if you didn't watch the Netflix show and you don't know who the hell Charlie Cox is? It's like,
right.
it put it in for people to be confused by it. And I was like, I would have rather they had just built him up a little bit more than that, give him like a scene at the courthouse to explain like, hey, I understand how you feel. I'm also a superhero, and kind of explain it a little bit.
How about this one? The reason that I say Venom is because they pretty much made a strong emphasis at the end of Carnage that Venom was going to be in the next Spider-Man.
Yeah, so that was a waste.
It was a waste.
That is what I did not. When they pulled him back, I was like, what was this for?
Exactly. Was it because he was going to leave a piece of the symbiote?
I guess, no, they could have done something else with that. They could have just said there was another version of him in that universe where, like, he does come attack. But it's like to pull him over there and then just like,
he's got to be Garfield's Venom though, because Topher Grace was still Toby's Venom. So he's got to be Garfield's Venom.
Yeah, he's got to be in the universe where Garfield's at.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that I did not like. I would have liked to see Venom at the end to contribute somehow, but whatever.
That just makes me wonder.
Did you have another bad? Did you say you wanted to?
I was thinking, but I'll think about it. I'll probably put it in the comments below. But I was, it just made it so ridiculous. You built all that post-credit scene built up was just to leave a drop of the symbiote.
Yeah.
And y'all really could have just explained it as another universe Venom there.
Yeah. I did.
And it really didn't explain the fact that like how he knew him, unless they're like that guy and he's acknowledging like I know of Garfield Spider-Man.
But he doesn't.
But I mean, how do we know?
That's what I don't understand. No. Why pull him if he doesn't know who Peter Parker is? He doesn't know Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That's who was pulled through.
So I watched some theories on that, and they were saying that like because he makes the mention that like we're all interconnected, like from all the other symbiotes, and like this whole. So maybe one of the symbiotes had come across Spider-Man.
So Topher Grace is
maybe, and that's how he knows Spider-Man.
But he doesn't know Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah, so why did he get pulled?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, Electro didn't know it was Peter Parker either. He got pulled too, and it was like that's.
No, he did. He just never saw his face, but he knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
How did he? I don't remember that ever coming up.
Because they kept calling him when Jamie Foxx was getting when Electro was getting in the grid, he kept hearing freaking Harry calling him Peter, and Gwen Stacy also. So they pretty much told him that it was Peter Parker. He just didn't know who Peter Parker was. You know what I'm saying? Like I know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but I've never seen Peter Parker's face. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's your bad. You're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so leave it in the comments below and let us know what you think. What are your goods and your bads on Spider-Man No Way Home? Currently, right now, it has a. Had a 93 Rotten Tomatoes score, 98.
Yeah, I love the movie.
98 audience score. It's grossed $1.5 billion off of a $200 million budget.
Which means we're getting a Spider-Man 4.
This is Sony's highest grossing movie of all time. That's crazy.
Yeah, they only needed the MCU to help them do it.
The highest box office in the pandemic era, which is pretty interesting. First movie after Disney-Sony dispute. Tom Holland actually played a part to bring the two together. If Tom Holland doesn't get involved,
we don't get
this does not get made.
I mean, technically they could have. I mean, because it's still characters they already owned.
That's true.
Yeah, so I mean, they still.
But you wouldn't have had Holland.
You wouldn't have had Doctor Strange.
And you wouldn't have had Doctor Strange. That's correct.
I mean, because they could have like MCU. I mean, they could have signed him to do a film for Sony. I mean, because he was probably already on a contract from Sony for the films. It just you wouldn't have had Doctor Strange, and we wouldn't have referenced the MCU.
Okay.
We wouldn't have had Daredevil
or the multiverse.
Okay. All right. I mean, I guess you still do multiverse.
The trailer garnered 355 million views in 24 hours, beating Endgame.
Yeah, I mean, it's just only as we get more dependent or more into streaming and like seeking out our media online like that, that record's gonna keep getting broken by some whatever else comes out.
Yeah,
Doctor Strange 2 is probably gonna break the record.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, technically they already dropped the trailer because they dropped the
Doctor Strange 2 is what Ant-Man was for Infinity War.
Okay.
You know, the Ant-Man 2, what that one was for Infinity War.
What else is on the list of movies coming up besides Doctor Strange 2?
Thor.
That one's probably gonna break it then, because Black Panther's probably getting pushed back.
And then Morbius.
Morbius is not gonna do it. That already got delayed.
For April, yeah. But see, the thing that's interesting about Morbius is that Michael Keaton's Vulture.
Yeah.
So
how are they gonna explain it?
And Andrew Garfield is the Spider-Man on the wall where they spray painted murderer.
Yeah, I mean that. So now nobody's gonna know. Well, I guess you can assume that Spider-Man's still the murderer. For Mysterio, they just don't know it's Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I guess you could still do that, but how does he know Venom?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, because it is in the universe for sure. Because he says, "Oh, we had that thing in San Francisco, and now this."
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So here's some questions for you. After everything that's gone on, where does this leave the characters, especially Doc Ock, now that he's actually good? Because he has control now over everything. He's a good guy. So where does that leave him in this?
Getting a teaching job with his multiple arms, and I mean, what else can he do?
But he goes back. His wife is still dead.
And is he in the water?
And he doesn't.
Does he go back to the
he
exact
goes back
moment?
into the wall.
And he's still,
but I'm good now. Shit. All right. Oh, it never ends.
Does the goblin go back right before the glider hits him?
Exactly. Okay, so now Tom Holland. Okay, real quick. So Tom Holland and all of them, I think he was coddled in the whole freaking this whole ever since he was introduced in Civil War, he's been coddled.
Right.
Now this is the one that pretty much makes him more independent, more of a grown up. Now that this version exists, where does he go from here?
I mean, this is really gonna. See, a lot of what they did in this film or at least the ending portion of it is based on a comic book called One More Day, where Aunt May is about to die, and then they make him make a deal with Mephisto, and Mary Jane and Peter sacrifice their love to Mephisto in order to let May live. So they make a whole thing that's like, we'll meet together. If we met together once, we'll meet together again, and so on and so forth.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's a whole thing where like they have to give up their love, and it was a big thing because all of the years of comic books of them getting together and they finally get married and stuff like that, and then in this one thing they give it all up and they start him back, and he's like a bachelor now, and he can't get back together with Mary Jane because she doesn't take him serious anymore. And so they were seeming like they were setting that up, and then they just I guess they kind of still did it because they don't get back together in the comics. Like currently in the comics they're not together. So he doesn't get back together with Mary Jane. But there's a lot of things that they did after that. It was like there was a whole thing where Doc Ock takes over Peter Parker's brain, and he becomes the
he's like the ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's like, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
he's not the ultimate, but I know.
But so there could be your answer for Alpha Molina.
Okay.
He can say, but I mean, the two biggest things are Venom and Kraven. I mean, because we touched on all of
Rhino too.
We touched on Rhino already, though, and it's like, do you want to see Rhino again?
Well, the actual more
like in an actual suit, it's like pretty hot in these rhinos.
You know, these rhinos. He was actually. Did you see the silhouette when the time thing was breaking?
No, I didn't.
You could see Rhino.
Oh, he was
Rhino
coming through.
in there, yeah.
I was trying to figure out who was coming through. So,
no Deadpool.
No Deadpool. You would have figured they would have kind of found a way to put that in there.
That would have been awesome.
The biggest things are Venom because of the goop, and then Kraven because they've been talking about it for a long time.
Okay.
That's it. We've seen all his other top villains.
So when it comes to the other side now, which one is more likely to happen? Spider-Man 4, Raimi, or Amazing Spider-Man 3?
Wait, for Tobey and Andrew?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Tobey's not coming back to another movie.
You don't think so? I think he will. I think he's got one more in him.
Tobey's not coming back.
Maybe another trilogy. I think he might get another
old man Spider-Man back in. It's like, we don't want to see that.
I would. I would see him. Why not?
All right, and then unless we do another like Spider-Verse type film, that's the only reason I feel like Tobey would come back for. Andrew Garfield, he got a raw deal. He didn't get all his movies.
Andrew Garfield's 38 years old, so I think
and
he's still young enough.
You want to see late 40s?
He don't look, but he don't look his age.
All right.
And then, these bastards on freaking internet talking about Toby looks like a recovering meth addict. I hated that. That's Toby. Leave him alone. But seriously, I think that Toby still has it in him. I think he still can freaking do it. I would love to see him and Kirsten Dunst back. That would be freaking awesome. The only thing is that we've already seen all these characters, as far as villains on Tom Holland's. That who are we going to see on his? He's already got them all. He's already fought them all.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody
majority
else.
of these villains on here were his.
Yeah, I mean, they really were.
So
there is nobody.
Hobgoblin.
I mean, you could. I mean, they definitely could.
The black cat.
So here's the
Kingpin.
They can't do Hobgoblin because
Ned.
I mean, well, no, it's just like it feels like you're rehashing.
Okay.
Toby and Andrew both fought Goblin, and it's like to do Hobgoblin, and it's like, well, we already seen them fight. I mean, basically, Hobgoblin I improved some of Goblin's tech, but I'm using all of his tech. I just improved it a little bit, and I repainted and gave it my own little splash of style. Blah blah. It's not much that. I mean, it's a little different because the Hobgoblin's a little bit more insane. It's not that much different, and there's no other bigger characters. I mean, they all could do Kraven because that's the only one that hasn't been touched on.
They could touch Morbius.
I mean, they could touch Morbius, but I would rather see more. If Morbius is gonna come across another, I would rather see Morbius mixed with Blade.
Me too. I would love that too.
I mean, you could do it, but I mean, because yes, it took place in Spider-Man comics, but I would rather see him with Blade than see him with Spider-Man.
Okay, so who do you think had the standout performance in this movie?
And plus, they're making Morbius good, and Morbius started out as a villain, so. I mean, we're already skipping past it, just like we skipped past it with Venom.
But maybe it's going back. Maybe it's going to be in reverse.
Okay.
Standout performance: Tom Holland, Willem Dafoe, Andrew Garfield, or Zendaya. Who
had the best performance?
Who had the best performance?
Zendaya was barely there, so let's mark her off.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to say it's going to be Willem Dafoe. And it was like, look, he gave us what we want. He's already got a weird, creepy face, and like they finally got to show his weird, creepy face. I kind of wish that they'd have hit him with green tint every time he was on screen. So it was like a green filter, a little Matrix filter, and put it over his face, or it's like, I can see the green. Yeah, you really do look like that. Or put the little stocking cap on him, and that'd have been amazing. And then put a stocking cap on him, a little like he found like a Christmas cap.
He looked more like Zartan with the hood. I honestly, dude. I didn't expect anything. I mean, I expected the same type of performance from Willem Dafoe.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect Tom Holland to be like that. Mm-hmm. I thought Tom Holland was the one that had the better performance of everyone because he had the most range from everybody.
Yeah, from his like, I believe in all of this stuff to I'm ready to murder you guys.
Yeah,
now.
But the intensity.
By the way, he could have hit that button or she had the button. Zendaya had the button.
The intensity that he had when he was face to face with Goblin and Willem Dafoe's delivering the lines like to perfection, and just the intensity that you see in Tom Holland, just something you really don't see. And when you have movies that he's done like Cherry, those type of movies that he's actually branching out a little bit, showing his range a little bit more, I think that helped.
Okay.
In how he delivered this performance. I thought that he was the one that stood out the most out of everybody. It was good. Garfield was fantastic. Dafoe was great. But I just think when you're looking at from Civil War to now, with the exception of the death scene in Infinity War, I think this is the most intense I've ever seen Tom Holland.
Yeah, definitely.
So I got to give it up. I got to give it up for Tom Holland on this one.
I really like to see, I felt like Willem Dafoe, all of that character and all of the facial expressions were hidden by the mask, and we really got to see it, and it was like I felt more fear in him than I felt in the original Spider-Man. So here he's like I said, he was Joker for the MCU, and I was just like, I have no idea what this dude's gonna do, and the willingness to just obliviously, well, I guess he did that before too, because he atomized those people with the with the bomb before. It's like, I guess he's always been like
he
that.
was Edward Norton in Primal Fear.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
All right, most iconic moment: Thor arrives in Wakanda, portal scene in Endgame, or the portal scene.
When it's on your left.
Okay. Or No Way Home, Spider-Man all together swinging together.
Portal scene.
Yeah, I got portal scene.
Portal scene because Cap was faced with I have to do this on my own, and then the portal opens up. on your left.
But then you factor the music in.
Yeah.
The music was phenomenal in the portal scene. But you cannot discount fucking Thor arrives in Wakanda. That was amazing.
You guys are screwed now.
That was amazing. All right, Terrence, take us home.
All right, guys. Man, I felt like we did what Art always says, when the review is longer than the movie. We talked about this movie quite a bit. But I'm sure there's more that we didn't touch on that you guys can go ahead and put in the comments below that will help branch out the discussion, so that way this video doesn't become 2 hours long. Also, too, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, as well as click the notification button so that way you're aware of all the other things that we do on the channel. Make sure you go to our Patreon and donate anywhere from $1 on up. We have posters. So we got giveaways, we got videos that we don't air on the channel. Also, too, if you go top tier, you'll get a t-shirt. But if you just want to get a t-shirt right now, you can go to Teespring and buy any of our merch. We got t-shirts, we got mugs, we got mags for the Unicron. The
Unicron variant.
We got all that stuff, so please go there too. Check the links in below.
For Aspen and Art and Carla, wherever the hell they're at, I'm Manny.
I'm Terrence.
And we'll see you next time.
Guys, you're still with us? Great. I know it's the end of the year, and I know you guys are in the holiday spirit, the spirit of giving, right? So we're asking you to give us money. So if you look down below, you'll see where it says patreon.com/thegoods. Right there is if you have an excess amount of cash laying around. If you have not bought enough Christmas presents and you're wondering, who else can I bring joy to this year? Us. That's who you can bring joy to. Have you ever looked at us and you're like, man, they should get a better camera? You're right, because we don't have enough money to. You can help us do that. Patreon.com/thegoods. Help us out. We'd appreciate it. And you can be a part of the goods yourself.